Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Utopiacast. I'm your host, Erik Hogan, here with my co-host, Elliot Vajnica. Elliot, say hello to the people.
Yo, yo, yo.
And today we are joined by a special guest here. We have Mr. Evan Wright, straight out of Saco, man.
Yes, sir.
Evan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be on. We've been trying to make it happen for a while now, so here I am. Let's get it.
Yeah, the scheduling for doing all of this is not as easy as we thought it was because we'll get into it, but Evan has a weird shift schedule with his work, so he's usually, unfortunately, the odd one out. So we're happy to have you on for today. And we got some cool stuff planned for today. We're going to follow the same kind of scheme that we did for episode 3 when we had Andrew on. But I guess before we talk about you specifically, we had a pretty goddamn good workout today. We went out to Jack and Jill, one of our favorite gyms. What did we hit today? How did we do? I'm going to save Elliot for last, actually. I want Evan to go first. How was your workout? What did you hit? Where are you at training-wise? What do you got for me?
Yeah, so this was my week, middle of my program, really. So I have a 5-week program, my first week being a deload week. So that was really light. So this is really my week 2 out of 4. So it went well. I mean, for a week 2, heavier weights are starting to move easier. So that's always a good sign.
Absolutely. Your bench moved really good today.
Super good. Yeah. So squat, I went up to 475. And that's like almost like an RP7 now, almost,
right.
Which is almost pretty insane considering like less than a year ago, my meet PR was like 480.
Yep.
So that was, it was good to see, coming in, I was fatigued, and we'll talk about my work later, but, I was a little sore, this and that, plenty of excuses. But anyways, it moved well considering the circumstances. And then we had 285 for bench. And again, like I was stuck at, I think, 292 for almost like 2 years, I feel like, in competition. I couldn't get past
pretty
that.
much like 2 years, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't get past that point, and now I'm hitting 285, and it's moving crazy. Like, it doesn't, I'm not even, like, it's like I don't know, if you go on my Instagram and watch it, it's like an RP, like, 5 or 6,
yeah.
It felt like.
Yeah,
so
and
it's good signs.
And legitimately, you've been doing this for a while. You're like, how you uphold to competition standard is what I think is really defining too, because you have nice long holds, nice long pauses. All of your squats are always to depth, you know what I mean? So there's not a lot of room for doubt. And I think that you've really cleaned that up, especially in the last year.
Right.
Yeah. So pretty good session from you.
Absolutely.
So I'll go second because I want to save Elliot for last year because he had the best session out of all of us. So I'm in week 2 of a 5-week cycle here. Pretty, heavy-ish, but definitely the best the weights have ever moved. Went up to 410 for squat. Honestly, it just didn't even register in terms of effort level. I felt like I sunk it, really easy. 265 for bench, which, there was a very long time where my bench was stuck at 265 from 2019 to 2020. My bench was stuck at 265 and did not go up even 5 pounds. So to pause that really, really clean was awesome. And then 320 for 5 on beltless stiff-legged deadlifts. So I like to cycle between beltless RDLs and beltless stiff legs. And I've been rolling with the stiff legs because I like how it attacks the spinal erectors. And I've always felt a little bit stronger off the floor when I have them in there. Just a single set because, we've talked about this before. I don't really respond super well to high deadlift volume, especially pulling conventional. So yeah, it just kind of works out for me. I've been having the time of my life in the gym recently. We've been having some really good sessions. But that being said, Elliot, I want you to, and don't be shy about it. Give me the context of what you hit today.
All right, guys. So it was week 4 of a 4-week block. We're 6 weeks out, right?
Yep, you are 6 weeks out. Yep.
So it's a pretty heavy session, week 4. We've been running doubles this whole block, and today I hit 380 on squat for a double. Now, for context, my best ever single squat was 374.
Yep.
And 4 weeks ago, I hit 370 for a triple.
Yep.
So 380 for a double was huge. And honestly, like, I don't know if you saw what Michael said on the post. I posted on Instagram. Go check it out. But just said like 2 or 3 more.
Wazzy with 3 Z's.
Yeah, Wazzy with 3 Z's. Bro, it's supposed to be RP 9.5, and like, yeah, I grind my squats, but like, I had at least one more in me.
I even said it in the moment. I said you probably had a triple today on that, which is crazy.
Pretty sick. And then 290 for a double on bench.
Honest too.
Bench was 315 single, and in a meet was 286. So
think about that. 286. Yeah, 130 kg. Absolutely. And once we get that thumb healed, deadlift is going to be right around the corner. And yeah, you're well on your way. Made the post today. Elliot's on pace to put about 200 pounds on his total within a year.
That's a goal.
That's right. Within a year. That's pretty insane. For reference, in my entire powerlifting career, I think I've only put 260 pounds on my total, and I've been competing since 2018. So, I mean, these younger kids are making a lot of progress. So, shout out, Elliot. You've been getting after it, but now it's time for singles.
What I say?
What do you say?
On the pod, bro.
Yes,
on the
sir.
pod. All right. So, with that being said, let's get into some stuff about our guest here today. So, we have a little bit of an interesting dynamic here. So, before we get into what that interesting dynamic actually is, speak upon our relationship first. So first and foremost, Evan is one of my OG4 coaching athletes, along with Andrew Graves, him, Sal Bozuto down in Connecticut, and Chris Couillard are my original 4. How did we come into contact? How did we kind of get rolling together? Speak upon that.
Okay. So I first saw or met Erik, I should say. I didn't really know him, but we kind of knew of each other in high school,
right?
And we both played basketball. And I remember doing Thanksgiving tournaments at his high school, Old Orchard Beach. So I do remember him. Great point guard, I believe. Yeah, great point guard. I mean, obviously we beat them pretty good, but
well, he's pretty good is an understatement. I think the one game that I played on the varsity level my sophomore year, you guys won by 40. And I believe you had like 7 threes or something like that, something insane. But yeah, we did play in high school.
Yeah, but regardless, I knew who he was. I knew he was a good athlete, and once I started lifting, I kind of got in contact with him through one of his good friends who I kind of knew previously, Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan Harlan.
And he was training at the same gym I was at the time, old XL Sports in Saco, at the OG gym right there.
And we've talked about that. We talked about that episode 1, that we say that's where lifters go and die, at that gym. Yeah.
Right. So I remember talking to Brendan. I was like, I was talking about how I wanted to get into powerlifting, all this other stuff. I was asking him like powerlifting questions. He's like, yeah, he's trying to act like he kind of knew what he was talking about.
Right.
But he's like, you should just talk to my buddy Erik. Just talk to my buddy Erik.
Right.
He has a better idea. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think going into my first meet, I kind of just did it by myself. I didn't really have a coach. I had someone kind of guiding me, but didn't have a coach, and I just wanted to see. I didn't even know if I would like it. So I did my first meet. I loved it.
Yeah, we did
Erik
the same.
Was actually there.
I was there. Yeah, we did the same meet in Peterborough, New Hampshire.
Yes,
that was an awful meet, bro.
Yeah, the warm up room was the worst I've been in so far.
I'm glad that didn't sour you away from the sport, because I could very easily see.
So even with that dynamic, I fell in love with it, honestly. Yeah. So. Like I said, he kept on telling me to talk to Erik, and at the meet I saw him. I was like, this guy, he's a competitor. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's not taking this as a joke. He's serious about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I want some more guidance. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. And I reached out to him. He said, I'm one of the OG guys.
Yep.
I put my faith into him, and, he's really come through. And now, we're super close and good friends. And,
absolutely.
We're going to keep grinding with it until we can't grind no more.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you just, we had but we'll get into maybe a little bit more about your actual powerlifting history, but you have a really cool story in terms of how you progressed pretty quickly at first, and then you got hurt, and then you were kind of stagnating for like an entire year, and then you had your breakthrough last meet.
Right.
And even with that said, I think that you've really scratched the surface for what you can possibly do in the sport. So we were right there with a 1,400 pound total, which was pretty crazy. 1383 I think we ended up at.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a huge PR compared to where his total was before that. So he's improved quite a lot since then. So, but before we get into your sport history and like how you got into powerlifting, stuff like that, we're distantly related. And we kind of found that out by accident, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not like a direct relation between that, but what is the relationship between us, how we're related?
Right. So how I found out was I think I posted a picture with Erik, and my aunt, who we have a connection through, said, I think that's my cousin Stu's son.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. So I hit up Erik. I'm like, so how does this work out? And he's like, oh yeah, my dad's cousin is your aunt.
Right.
So we're basically cousins.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So you found out, I was like, yo, that's blood right there.
Yeah. So this is my cousin. You talk shit to him, you're talking shit to me. So.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, if y'all got something to say,
right.
You might think you got me, but you don't got this guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now I also think this is something, I guess, that I just kind of thought of. You and Elliot have a very interesting dynamic here because you guys are the taller people in the group. So you guys always end up working together in terms of like being on the same rack for squat and for bench. And it's very interesting because Evan is almost like this is not really doing it justice, but he's like the grown up, like putting Elliot in his place, and then Elliot's the one who's always like trying to take Evan above the edge, or over the borderline rather. What speak on you guys' relationship and what the dynamic is, because Elliot's 18, you are
just turned 26 like a week ago.
Just turned 26, and he's 18, and it's just so funny watching these two interact with how they talk. Elliot,
what about it is funny to you?
What's up?
What about it is funny to you?
Well, because like the things that you say, how he reacts to them, or like he'll say something and then you'll like try to set him over the edge or whatnot.
Like today, for example, didn't mean to cut you off, but Elliot was like, called me kid. I'm like, whoa.
Yes,
whoa.
and he goes, what are you talking about, kid? And I was like, yo, you got to talk to him. He just called you kid right here.
Erik basically made me, step up and put him in his place. Because yes, Elliot may be able to bench more than me, but he is still my son. So.
Few things. First off, I don't think I actually can bench more than you.
I mean, we'll see.
I was just telling him earlier, like it's an interesting. I had known of his brother when I was growing up, like all throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, and I saw Wright on Instagram one day, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that there were people like this in Maine that were this strong. So I kind of admired him growing up.
Right.
And then come to find out, I started working with you and I got involved, and then we started lifting together like every Saturday. And now it's just cool to be friends with someone who I used to look up to. And like, I remember coming home to my mom, like this was a long time ago. This was back when you used to lift with Travis.
Yeah.
Shout out Travis.
Shout out Travis Sanborn.
I benched 275 and I was like, Mom, you're not going to believe it. Like I can bench as much as this kid, like Travis. And like I looked up to this group of kids like my whole life. Like this is insane. Like I'm getting somewhere. And it's kind of a similar thing where like I've seen Erik on Instagram a bunch, but I never got the chance to like meet him until recently. So
right.
Yeah, I guess I'd like grind his gears a little bit, but it's
all in good fun. Yeah, it's never ever like malicious ever.
Yeah, no, never.
That's why I think it's hilarious.
It's just cool to like be friends with him. Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've talked to like my girlfriend about this and whatnot, just about like Elliot and stuff. I'm like, he's not like, are you 19 now, 18?
You'll be 19 18. Very soon though, right?
Yeah, 19 in July.
Yeah. Yep.
I like talked to her about this. I talked to Chris about it, just about like he's not like a typical like 18-year-old like you see nowadays. I'm not saying every single 18-year-old is like that, but he said he'll like joke around with me and stuff, but he can talk to me and be social. And a lot of kids like nowadays like they just they don't know how to do that.
They're
and, like,
just
they
so
take everything so
awkward.
seriously, and they just don't know how to have like a good fun conversation. And
absolutely,
a good, well-rounded kid. So it's
absolutely. And we try to keep things pretty loose and and stuff like that. And if people are too uptight, it kind of ruins the mood. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, every Saturday. So Evan's a part of this too. Pretty much every Saturday. A couple ones here and there. Like next week we won't be able to because like Michael's doing something. I'm going out to Handle to a meet. But most weekends we end up training at some gym in Southern Maine. It's usually us three, Michael, co-host Michael here, and Chris Couillard, and we've been getting after it, and we've been having some really goddamn good workouts. I'm glad that we can do that. You know what I mean? Because with our schedules and stuff like that, it's just so hard to do during the week. So that Saturday session is really crucial. It's usually everyone's heavy day.
Yeah, just one other thing is like it's kind of cool that me and Wright are like not really built the same, but leverages kind of like we're taller. Have the longer femurs, the longer arms,
and I was going to say and I was trying to allude to it the best way that I could. This is the standard that you will be at when you fill out 100 kgs because they're about the same height as Elliot, a little bit taller.
Elliot's definitely got a few inches on me.
Yeah,
right. What are you like 6'2", 6'3"?
No, just 6'1".
Right.
No, you're
on
not.
a good day, on a low gravity.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel you got more than an inch because I'm like 6 feet.
You're 6 foot, yeah. So
it's
Elliot
with the rack heights,
right? And Elliot is a 90 kilo lifter, and Evan for the longest time was the old 93 kilo class lifter, but now he's a 100 kilo lifter. But we'll get into that. So, before we segue into what I think is the most unique thing about you, which is your physical labor job and how you kind of balance things together and how we design your programming around that, sport history. You were primarily a basketball player, but did you do other sports?
Yeah, so growing up, like all the way through middle school, I played basketball, baseball, and football.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into high school, I wanted to cut that down to have more of a focus. I started to fall in love with basketball.
Right.
So I started playing basketball year round, and I played baseball in season. A lot of my friends played baseball, and I had fun with it. I didn't put too much extra off-season work into it, but luckily I was just good enough to kind of play and be on varsity and stuff.
Right.
But I really did love like basketball for a while, and that's kind of what I put my time and focus in on. And
you did some AAU too, right?
Yeah, I played AAU. I played for a bunch of different AAU teams, traveling around New England and whatnot. And as I got closer to graduation and kind of more towards my junior year, I realized I love basketball, but it's not something I wanted to continue past high school.
Yeah.
I had the opportunities to do like local like D3 schools, and that just wasn't something I was interested in. I wanted to go get out of state, do something different, and that's what I ended up doing. But as far as that goes, I still love basketball as far as watching it. And
we talk about basketball all the time.
Yeah, we love it.
I got the Zion jersey right now.
Get the Zion jersey on. We still rep basketball because I feel like once you're a basketball player, you're kind of always a basketball player.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. You always kind of have that mindset.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of where I ended my sports career, was after high school until I got into powerlifting.
Right, exactly. So how long have you been powerlifting? When would you say that you started powerlifting type training, and then when was your first meet?
So it was tough. Like I said, when I first started, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah, this is always tough to...
Yeah, I kind of thought I knew what I was doing. Like when I first started lifting, I want to be that guy, the biggest and strongest, and kind of realize it's kind of... have to do that. Not everyone can be Larry Wheels,
right.
Like so.
Right, we talked about that in episode 5. Those unrealistic expectations.
Right. So, leading up to my meet, I was doing pretty basic powerlifting training. Not going heavy, but not too heavy. Just kind of building my way up to the meet.
Yep.
And that first meet was August 2019.
Yep, you're right.
That was the meet. Erik was at as well.
Yep.
So that was my first meet, and I think I've done 5 now.
Yeah, 5. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, and so that's been almost 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, so it is pretty crazy to think back on it, but as a power lifter, that is young. 3 years isn't a long time, and I feel like I'm finally getting a groove.
Yeah.
And I think going up a weight class, kind of filling out my height, kind of helped that for sure.
Right.
And I think the change in weight classes was kind of a blessing in disguise. It kind of almost forced me to go up. So,
right.
And I think that was the best thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just brought it up right there. So for those of who are not unfamiliar, USAPL changed their weight classes effective January 1st of this year, which being 2022. So Evan was kind of in limbo because he was a 93 kilo lifter. We already had planned and talked about how the 105 kilo class would have been better for him, but 105 kilos was 231 pounds, and that's a lot of weight to gain. So we were like, let's just chill around the 93s, and then it switched to the 90 kilo class and then the 100 kilo class. And I was like, bro, this is like tailor made for you, because 220 pounds is a lot easier than 230. And, 90 kilos would just be too, at that point in your age and whatnot, it just you wouldn't have made progress, I guess, if you stayed 90. And that was a tough conversation. It's like, cause when people gain weight, they see like their coefficient score go down and they're like, did I actually get stronger? Evan had an interesting dynamic in which his DOT score, which is the coefficient that we use to kind of correlate strength in USA powerlifting, his DOT score went up when he gained a weight class. And for those who are listening, this is not easy to do, right? Usually your DOTs will stay the same. So for reference, my weight class shifted up 1.5 kilos. My DOTs stayed the same despite adding 20 pounds to my total. So it's not that easy to do. What was the process like of gaining a weight class for you? How did you do it? And where are you sitting at these days?
Yeah, so it's definitely hard. Like once we get into like my job and stuff, it's it'll make more sense. But just on the just briefly, like I burn a lot of calories. So when I'm working, I have to be constantly eating or I'm going to be losing weight.
Right. And you're naturally a leaner, thinner kid, right? Yeah.
I've always been, I think graduated high school like 140 pounds probably.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So I've always, been like skinnier and whatnot. And I've obviously have a, metabolism that's crazy. So, but gaining that weight was like, it cost some money, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just like,
that's the tough part.
Yeah. Cause, I wish I could say that I meal prepped all the time and, to save money and this and that, but I didn't. I ate out a lot. I was eating, 5 times. I still am eating like 5 times a day because that's just almost to maintain my weight at this point. How many calories I burn. And it just was, it wasn't easy because of, like I said, burning all the calories and yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did it the right way. You gained slowly.
Right.
It was pretty much like over the span of like 10 weeks, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe it was 12.
Right. It was maybe like about a half pound to a pound a week, maybe. And I felt like I was eating like crazy.
Right.
I thought I was eating a crap ton. But,
and it was noticeable towards the end in terms of like actually putting on good size. He put on some pretty good size in terms of like muscle tissue and whatnot. Because it's very easy if you kind of spill over and do it too quickly. I mean, you're just going to gain a bunch of body fat that when you trim down, you didn't actually gain any contractile tissue. So yeah, maybe your leverage got better. So you could, I don't know, do 10 pounds more on squat. But when you lose that weight, you're just going to be back to square one. So you did it the right way. So let's talk about, before also that I talk about your physical labor job, I want to also juxtapose it with what you kind of do and then what I kind of do. I have backgrounds doing kind of what you are doing currently, and I have backgrounds, really rich history of doing with what you're doing. So for those who are listening and, watching on YouTube or whatnot, you work a manual labor job.
Yes.
What is the day-to-day, I guess, requirements for what you would do on any given week?
So any given week, I'll go by the day because it's a little
easier. Daily. Yep.
So I work a second shift job, which usually consists of me going in at 2 or 3 and getting out whenever we finish our job. It can be from 10 o'clock at night till 1 or 2 a.m.
Right. So that's second shift, right?
Yep. Second shift. It really depends. And I work in a warehouse. So, we do a lot of doors and windows. And as you can imagine, doors aren't necessarily that light at all.
I mean, windows eat the same thing.
Windows, same thing. So, half my day I'm kind of like, going around using a forklift, picking product, making pallets. Forklift certified, just to note that.
That's right. Shout out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're about certifications on the Utopiacast.
Yeah, right. So, building pallets, picking product and whatnot. And then my second half of my day usually consists of me loading, trucks of our product.
Right.
So some nights between our crew, we have the 800, doors plus 300 other accessories for those, doors and other products that we sell.
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally could be moving, like 100 doors in a night, which, isn't easy.
No, it's not easy.
And that's after, we're already doing stuff for the first half of the day. So,
right.
You can imagine how much, calories I'm burning while doing that.
Well, yeah, and exactly. And it's also the second shift thing. You never quite get used to that. I mean, it's not as bad as like the graveyard shift or anything like that, but even still, I ended up working second shift my first year of doing manual labor, and it was pretty exhausting, and it really throws off your circadian rhythm. We'll talk about the programming that we did around that, but Elliot, remind the Utopiacast here and our listeners what you do for work currently.
So I work at Saco Bay Variety.
Right.
Little like restaurant, corner store type thing.
Yep. And you do primarily short order cooking, right?
Yep. Pretty much.
Fire food.
Yeah.
Fire food. Go there.
This is the second time that we've gotten a cosign for Saco Bay Variety. So folks who are listening, go ahead and visit Saco Bay Variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what is your hours usually?
Usually 7 to 1.
Okay, 7 to 1. So you're
sometimes
essentially
earlier and later.
Right. Okay. What is the dynamic for you? In terms of because obviously, ideally, we would want to not work and go to the gym, right? Because we would have unlimited resources. But what do you feel like working and doing short order cooking takes away from in terms of your lifting?
Realistically, I think that the biggest thing is like waking up early.
Yeah.
Because I'm a teenager.
Of course.
And I have other people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up staying up late.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to wake up early.
Right.
I honestly haven't gotten 8 hours of sleep or even 7.
Right.
as long as I can remember, which, you know, I'm still making progress, but it's like, how could I say that I wouldn't be better if I got such good sleep, or like I wasn't stressed out about work every day for the next day.
Of course.
The other thing is like standing.
So standing
Like,
for
I'm just
long periods of
standing
time,
for, like,
yeah.
6 hours. Like,
Right.
You don't sit down or anything, so it doesn't sound that bad, but like that's one. 6 hours of not much food, or sometimes I'm distracted. I don't drink any water. Like,
Well, yeah, exactly. And then also probably the times that you do eat, they're probably not great meals,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean, in terms of quality.
Yeah, and then I don't know, just like mentally too. Like you just finish the shift and you're just like tired. Like you don't want to lift. You just want to go home, play video games, like hang out with your girlfriend.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted you to talk on that is obviously what Evan does takes away physically and obviously mentally too, because, you know, just the mental toll of, you know, day-to-day stuff. But everyone has it bad, you know what I mean? Or maybe not bad is the word, but everyone is dealing with some type of stuff with work or school or whatnot, and just to various degrees. So I wanted you to speak on that.
Yeah, so just to go like get back into like my past a little bit, I had like desk jobs. I worked for different insurance companies out of college, and
right,
like I was sitting at a desk for 40 hours. And I
What is your degree again, Evan?
I have a business degree.
Okay.
In, I focus on marketing.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, out of college I did some insurance jobs, and I thought that was gonna help my lifting, sitting at a desk for 40 hours and like not having to, you know, be physical, because I did a physical job while in college and before college. So I'm like, all right, I want to sit at a desk because everyone thinks that's, you know, like a typical good real job or whatever.
Yeah.
I did tried a couple different insurance companies, like you know, another company, and I absolutely hated it.
Right.
I you know, mentally I hated it, like everything. I just didn't like it at all.
Right.
And, you know, I was like, all right, I can't do this, like sitting at a desk all day. Like I said, like it didn't help my lifting. You know, mentally I was tired. Like I was stressed out my job the next day.
Yeah.
And so I found this job I have now, and, you know, yeah, it's physical at times, but, you know, I don't dread going to it every day.
Yeah.
Like mentally, like you said, I do have mental stress, but it's not like it used to be. It's more physical, but
yeah,
you know, I like my job, and, you know, I'm happier. You know what I mean? That's like the biggest thing for me.
That's important. Yeah.
It really is important.
Because like imagine if you're in the gym too, and you're just like some people get like stuck where they. Someone posted a video about this. It was like Omar Isaf.
Okay.
You guys know him?
Yeah.
He posted a video about like the one thing that he did recently to like alter his lifting forever, like a game changer, and it was like not going on his phone in the gym because he kept bringing his personal life into the gym, and he was like stressed out about.
So I had that issue as well. Yeah, I had that issue as well with coaching and whatnot. When I first started doing it, and when I really started growing with like people like on the roster, whatever, I would try to give feedback while I was lifting, and it was taking away from my lifting because I'm like, I'm dealing with this, dealing with that. So, you know, now I make it known that when I'm training, I am not going to be replying to people. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that is fair. And
mentally, if you can't get you're not in the zone. Like,
I mean, yeah, mentally speaking or emotionally speaking too, like if it's taken away from my workout, I don't like that. But also I can't give you the best service if I'm preoccupied with something else. I would rather just do it when I have the time or whatnot. That's something very good that you pointed out. So getting into manual labor. So I actually have experience with this as well, for 4 years, I think 5 summers, but I guess 4 total years. I don't know, something like that. I did manual labor 5 days a week during the summer, 6 days a week actually during the summer at a campground in Old Orchard Beach. So same deal, was on my feet for 8 hours a day, was taking like 13 to 15,000 steps a day. And that was before I actually got to the gym. So I related to Evan with that. And I was like, bro, I get it. I 100% get it. And we do something pretty similar, or not similar, pretty unique with your training. You only train 3 days a week.
Yeah. And that was tough for me at first. And that was something that we talked about, because, you know, I was doing 5 days, and that
you did 5 for a while.
I did 5 for a while, and it just wasn't working. And it was, you know, I was going to the gym every day feeling like crap, getting sore, getting hurt.
And it didn't matter what rest days that we took. We could have spaced it out, whatever. It just was never working.
Right. And I think that's really when I was like stagnating a lot. And like during that period, it was, you know, hard mentally, you know, because no one wants to stagnate or go down or like have a weight that used to feel good, feel heavy. And that's kind of how it was, because I was tired, I was sore. And we went down to 4 days.
We trimmed it to
tried
4.
4 days, and it still was happening.
Yeah, it was like a little better, but like not so much to where like, well, this was a game changer.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, going, you said maybe we should try 3. I'm like thinking 3 days. I'm like, you know, I always lifted 5 sometimes 6 days a week way back.
Right.
And I was like 3 days a week, I love lifting, I love it, but I love doing well and moving weight and so
I mean that's tough.
Right.
That was tough. And I think since we have the relationship that we do, he trusted me with that because I was like, we can absolutely do this. We can absolutely make it work. Again, 3 days a week training, I wouldn't recommend it for 95% of people, but with his situation, I was like, let's give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? I was like, your workouts on those days will be longer because we have, so much shit we need to get through. But then you'll have those 4 days of rest that you can kind of play with however you wanted to do it. And needless to say, you not only are not injured anymore, you have made the most progress you probably ever had on your squat and bench. I think that coupled with the weight gain probably helped.
Right.
And it's sustainable. This is something that you can do probably indefinitely.
Right, and that's the biggest thing for me. Is like I want longevity. I'm not in it for the short haul. I want to, be in it for the next 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. And I think, being smart when first started when I'm younger, like I am now, is the biggest thing because I think a lot of people get burnt out, get hurt, can't deal with adversity, can't make it through those stagnant periods of time. And a lot of people haven't dealt with that and that's I think that kind of really shows your character and who you are because it's easy, not necessarily easy, but it's nice to make gains every month or whatnot and people do
like
that.
Elliot is doing right now.
Yeah. Nothing against Elliot,
No, they say that motivation is people are like, how do you stay motivated? Motivation is for limbs. Like it's easy to be motivated and lift.
Yeah,
it's like the dedication is
the discipline aspect.
Right. God forbid you ever have adversity, and I think that's why I said you're not like other 18-year-olds. I think you'll get through it no matter what. Mm-hmm. If you do, you won't necessarily have that.
Right.
But I think if you ever do, you'll be mentally you're strong enough to get through that. And I don't know if everyone can always deal with that. People don't. I see it all the time. People just disappear from the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
And see why? Because either life happened too fast for them, stuff's going on in their life they can't deal with.
Yeah.
And, nothing against those people because we all have that and it's tough. And
of course,
sometimes things are more important. But people who stick through that it definitely shows a lot.
It does. I mean, it certainly does. And it's I don't know. It's a tough one because we've talked about this before, and I talked about this on my single episode. You never really can. You take having a healthy body for granted, and only when you have a really bad injury, to the point where it's either numbers that you've hit before are way down, or the numbers that you can hit now are so painful that induces tears and stuff like that. Only then will you understand what it means to be healthy in the sport. You know what I mean? And I think that Elliot, you do a good job of not taking that for granted. Of course, me and Evan would love to PR as much as you do. You PR every single block, but but I think you're also aware of that you're new to the sport, and that will start to slow as you go down. Now, that's not to say you're going to stop progressing, but the rate in which you're going to do that, because there is a bottleneck, right? We have a genetic bottleneck, but I think a lot of people sell themselves short of what that actual bottleneck is. You know what I mean? And it really comes down to, if you believe that you can do it, and I hate being so cringy, but it really is the truth when it comes down to it in the sport. If you have the belief, and for you guys, sometimes when you go into the bar, I tell you, if you believe, because everyone around you knows that you can hit, like today, you're 380. If based on your last warm-up, based on your entire training block before, 380 for 2 was 100% there. The only limiting factor was, do you believe that you can do it? And you absolutely did, and you fucking crushed it.
Sick, bro.
Yeah.
2-4.
It is.
You're telling me no more 100-pound PRs on my meet total?
Well, they'll probably come fewer and far between. I will say that. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. We'll see. Now, if you go up to the 100 kilo class right after this, then another 100 pounds. Absolutely. No, don't go like this, because you're going to gain 5 pounds and be like, yo, Erik, I lost, I can't see striations in my delts and shit like that.
Last podcast for this.
Yeah, exactly. So if you guys watch episode 5, you'll talk about Elliot's
damn social media. Yeah,
the social media influence on him. If we need to get him off of Instagram so I can get him to go up a weight class.
Oh, bro.
Okay. Yeah, he just posted a reel today, and it went viral essentially for an hour. It's crazy.
Run up the reel.
Yeah,
Wazzy with 3 Z's.
Wazzy with 3 Z's. Give him a follow, everyone. And also follow Evan_Gains. Shout out Evan here. Don't follow me. I don't want your follow. So we talked about Evan. We talked about what we did for today. We have an interesting topic to talk about, and that is gym attire. As you can see, not that Elliot is not stunted up. Elliot has great style, but me and Wright are pretty stunted up right now. I got the Vancouver Grizzlies tie. I got the Zion jersey. He's got the Anaka. Let's talk about it, because we like to sometimes spice it up a little bit in the gym, not necessarily outside, but in the gym while we are training. I think the average person would be like, oh, you're just going to sweat in those clothes. What the hell? Like, why wouldn't you just wear something like, ratty and whatnot? Why do you decide to wear what I like to call hard fits in the gym? And what's the thought process behind it? Elliot, you can speak on this as well, because you like to sometimes, spice it up.
I'll go first. I think for me, like, I think me and Wright, not gonna, like, I don't want to say disagree.
Yeah.
But like we have like a different path, because I was hearing you talking about this earlier. For me, I just want to feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to feel confident. I want to be like, yeah, I look sick right now.
Right.
Like, people are seeing me squat and they're like, wow, that kid is sick.
It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could
Or
be as
like-
simple as that.
Like, social media.
I mean, honestly,
The last pod.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big thing. Eri, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, like they say, look good, feel good. But yeah, so I like to buy my gym clothes, because I used to like go out when I was younger. I used to try to like dress nice when I went out and stuff. I don't really do that anymore. So like
Right.
going out for me is like going to the gym, and that's like where I spend my money on my clothes, because
Right.
like I'm there a lot, and like we like to look good.
Yeah,
like I said,
exactly.
that's the only time I'm really in public nowadays. So.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we turn it into a social event on Saturday.
Yeah,
It's true, we
It is
do.
a social event. It's an event every
It is.
Saturday, and
Yeah.
it makes it fun. And I like to see what other people are wearing.
Yeah.
I know they want to see what I'm wearing.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, so it makes it interesting, and
Yeah.
it gives us something to talk about and something to like, I don't know, relate to. I
Yeah,
guess.
absolutely, and it's he's really, again, doing it a little bit of disservice. I remember 2 weeks ago, Anaka dropped something, and he was in the gym in between deadlift sets ordering shit on his phone. Shout out Anaka, right?
Yeah. So if you haven't heard or seen, I'm an unofficial ambassador. So what that means is I spend a lot of money on their clothing, their brand. Love them. Great,
Yep.
great brand. Great people who run it. I
Right.
follow them closely, but I get nothing in return.
Right, exactly.
That's just really what it means.
Not affiliated.
He's not affiliated.
Not affiliated whatsoever, but I still represent, so maybe a little bit.
What about Anaka do you love so much?
Yeah,
Well, I feel like I got into them pretty early. Like they had some cool.
you
I
were
like-
an early adopter.
yeah,
I
like,
will
had
100% admit
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah,
I kind of got to them. They were big, but they weren't nearly as big as they are now. And like I saw their clothing. Something this caught my eye. They have cool designs. Like they're one of their owners and founders, Shali. I follow him, and like he's a super cool guy. Like I said, I have a business degree, and I kind of like followed him on how he like grew his business. I just find that super interesting, because like low key, like my dream to do something like that, to
Right.
have my own brand and like see what he's done. And it's like everything I would want to do. And like he's just like, he worked hard to get where he's at, and he has a great business mind. So I just find it super fascinating.
Right.
And he also has a great eye for style and design, which
Yeah.
is also like I like a lot.
right, exactly. And they do a lot of like mock designs, like the one you're wearing right now is Milwaukee, but with the
This is
Anaka power.
California sun dried raisins.
Right. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I also have like I don't know, for some reason I like when they do that a lot.
Right.
I just bought something from C Bums Drop. It was
Okay.
like a Miller.
Shout out Bumstead.
Yeah, Shoutout Bums. It was like the Miller High Life logo, but it was
Okay.
like raw nutrition. I think it was like raw nutrition. So I don't know why I like that so much, but you
Yeah.
drop something like that, I'll probably buy it.
Right, exactly. And what Evan kind of spoke about being the unofficial or unaffiliated, was it unofficial brand ambassador?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same thing with SBD. So every time SBD drops something, it's been the running joke that like I have people that I go to college with who message me like, "Have you bought it yet?" Because they know, and the answer is usually yes. I think I have just about every single SBD singlet. Maybe not so much the knee sleeves, but like I have 3 pairs of full SBD kits that I can go through at any moment. But that's for the singlet stuff. And I like to wear my singlet quite often, because I figure I spend so much money on them, I'm gonna fucking wear it. You know what I mean? So what brands we talked about Anaka. What brands do we kind of gravitate towards? Maybe not necessarily powerlifting specific, but what do we like to wear, I guess? What are the things that come to mind? Are we Gymshark? Are we SBD? What are we?
Gymshark.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He was wearing Gymshark shorts. Nothing against Gymshark. I don't know why he's laughing, but he was wearing them today and trying to act like he wasn't.
Yeah, I was wearing.
How about this? How about this? How about we rephrase it this way? How would you describe your style in the gym to someone who asked? I think that would be a good one. How about this? I think we'll go even one further. We'll go even one further. Each one of us will describe our style in the gym. So I'll go like this. Elliot, I will describe Elliot's style. Hit or miss is what I will say. Elliot is hit or miss, all right? Because his highs are really high, and I'm like, yo, bro, you are stunted the fuck up. His lows are absurdly low, okay? I'm thinking of 2 times in particular, all right? So the first one was Elliot. We are in a commercial gym. I told Elliot, I was like, you need to start getting some reps in your singlet. This kid showed up. All right, I'm going to speak to the camera on this one. This kid showed up wearing his singlet, all right, with the biggest like baller basketball shorts over the singlet, and he looked like an absolute Flanagan. Like, are you kidding? He was like pulling with it. He's like, bro, I don't want to take them off. I'm like, you look worse with the shorts. The shorts were so long.
Well, at that point in my career, I had like small legs, and I didn't want people to see like my pee-pee.
And it absolutely made it worse. Like, it didn't make it better. It absolutely made it worse.
I knew you were gonna talk about this.
And then the second thing that comes to mind is for a very short period, Elliot kept wearing these like boxer shorts of Baby Yoda, and he's like, bro, these are pretty hard, aren't they? And I'm like, honestly, no. These honestly.
To this day, I think those are still hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like those are misses, but you have some really high highs.
What rate my fit today?
Your fit today, that a variation of the Logan Allaire fit?
It was a variation, yeah.
It was the variation.
That's my lucky.
Shout out LA Lifting if you're watching this. Logan's he's going to set an unofficial American record in his first meet. How was your style today? I would rate it like an 8.5 out of 10. It was clean. It was concise. It was legit. So if I had to describe you, hit or miss.
Now let me ask one more thing.
Okay.
What would I have to do to raise it like a extreme level?
You would have to. There's 2 ways you can go about it. The highs have to be even higher, or you have to take the lows and at least bring them up to like a 5 out of 10. Because if you haven't done the shorts over the singlet thing, but like some other times, I'm just like, bro, like this is not that hard.
Wow.
All right. Let's go. How about you describe E-Wrights? And E-Wright would describe me.
If I describe E-Wrights, it's always like boxing shorts, like some form of like a Naka or like another like sort of like powerlifting like hype beast type of like boxing shorts with like the wide flare, like
right.
Like I actually love the way those fit.
You had a pretty sick oversized shirt today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I told them today, like I never was an oversized shirt guy. Like I just everyone wants you to like have tight shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I've been wearing them, and I kind of feel them. I'm gonna start going.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Hypebeast shorts, and then just like pretty much like a shirt you have on now. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Usually, you just wrap the full like a Naka power fit. Or, like, nothing wrong with that. Like, it's always clean. It's always fresh. Like
every once in a while,
the ambassador.
Yeah, every once in a while, you throw in like the A7 tights and shit like that.
I was just about to say that. I've seen you deadlifting in the tights. It's
a
really good look.
That is hard.
I do have a decent amount of A7, and I'm kind of mixed it up. I have some raw nutrition, some ghost stuff. I dabble, but you know where I stand for the.
Yeah, one thing I will say is I never see you pull up in like sweatpants.
It's true. No,
I love sweatpants.
And Elliot, yeah, you do pull up in sweatpants quite often, which is not a bad thing.
Is there any reason for that?
I mean, I do in the winter sometimes. I don't know. I don't like the way they feel over my shorts.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
I do in the winter. I do wear them sometimes in the winter.
Right.
I do wear them, guys.
I also feel like you don't usually pull up in like a cutoff or like some sort of tank top.
Tank tops, yeah. I don't really see you wear tank tops a lot.
Not very often. I mean, most of my tank tops are self-made.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So those are like mostly my work shirts, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
But
that makes sense.
like I said, like they're self-made, and like I like to look stylish. I like to look clean.
Yeah.
Sometimes the self-made ones just don't cut it.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
They're more of a work shirt for me, but Naka drops some tank tops. Maybe give me a.
That's fair.
It's pretty much just extremely honest.
Just honest. Yeah. Just honest. All right.
I don't want to show anyone up too much.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Now, how would you two describe my style?
As far as style, well, I look up to Erik in a couple different aspects, but in style, I kind of do look up to him in a little bit.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Because I do give a little bit of an effort. I will admit that.
And I kind of like I started doing my fit checks on Instagram, and I kind of got that from Erik's work fits for the most part.
Yeah.
He's a school teacher, and I respect that because I remember like in high school and stuff, teacher just coming in and it's like They look like they didn't want to be there.
Exactly.
You know, someone comes in looking like Erik with what is that Jordan fit?
Yeah.
The Jordan fit.
The Jordan fit.
Multiple colored like shirt.
Yep. The 1992 Jordan fit.
Yeah. That's just like hard. I'm like, this guy wants to teach. I want to learn.
Right.
You know, they come in looking like, no offense, like Elliot, like right now. And you know, I'm just like, this guy doesn't want to teach. I don't want to learn.
I'm right. Have a teacher come in like me, bro.
Okay, maybe that was a little drastic, but you know, sometimes they wear like the baggy like dress pants,
right?
Tech shirt. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Erik's coming in like tight fit, clean, like you know what I mean. This guy's here not to mess around. You're not gonna be screwing around in the back of the room. He's gonna call your ass out, and you know what I mean. Like I'm here to learn. This guy looks professional.
And a yellow flower shirt with yellow pants.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in the gym, it's always like most pristine like SBD outfits.
Right.
I think of, unless you're doing like a tertiary bench day.
Right.
But like if it's a serious day, it's like either a full like SBD colorway. Or like a very like nice mismatch like color, like the knee sleeves are like complementary to the singlet and like socks.
I do that on purpose. I 100% do that on purpose. It's everything's calculated and whatnot. So I like those. I like the barbell commission tights that I wear, like the smaller ones and whatnot. And I wear tank tops quite often. Yeah. So if I had to make a comment, I guess on mine, it is calculated. You know what I mean? So
I'll agree to that.
Yeah, it is definitely calculated.
I think most things Erik does is calculated.
That's very true. I will admit that. That could be a good thing. It could also be a bad thing, right? But that's neither here nor there. So that's gym attire. That was a little bit on Wright and whatnot. No, Elliot would like to speak. Elliot would like to speak.
If you guys could each pick one thing that you would avoid, Erik, other than you and the big baller shorts with the SVD singlet, what would it be?
Okay, so what would you avoid wearing?
Like at all costs, like
personally,
or dead wearing it.
Okay, me personally, or what I don't like. Like I think it's like whack.
Like just both.
Okay, so if I had to think about, so for me personally, yeah, I don't like wearing like huge, gigantic anything in the gym. So like I sometimes wear like oversized, and I like it. I have like a brown like shirt that I wear, and I kind of like it. But I'm talking about like the aggressively huge stuff, like huge shorts that go down to like my ankles, or like a I don't know, something along those lines.
2002 like NBA basketball.
Essentially like when we grew up, essentially, right? Yeah. So I hated that style. I still don't like it. I will never like it. So anything that's like huge like that, and then and this is a really niche thing, not matching at all, like literally looking like you just like walked into you just threw whatever was in the front of your drawer or whatever. It's like, you can tell you're probably not taking your workout that seriously if you can't do like a little bit extra to make yourself presentable. And again, that's not necessarily the case, but that's just like kind of how I think about it. I wouldn't be caught dead in that.
I have a question for you, Erik.
What's up?
So how close can the shorts be to the knee before?
Ooh, okay. So I'm a big fan of this, and I'm a huge fan that the shorts are gotten shorter over the years, because again, we grew up in a time where the shorts were down to the ankles. I had a size in my freshman year of basketball. I had a pair that was size small, and they went down to my ankles. Right, that was the size small. So what is exactly the question again? How
close can the end of the short
to your knees? I would say for me, that
inseam length.
Oh, the inseam. Okay, so the inseam. I'm a big fan of anywhere between 7 to 5. 3 is pretty aggressive. I just wear tights at that point.
Is 9 too long?
For me personally, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's I think 9 just
exactly. I don't like anything, honestly, and we're talking about length. I like to be several inches above the knee, just in terms of, and just because I like seeing my legs, so that's probably my strong suit.
Once you get quadded up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you give it a little
also with like powerlifting and stuff. I mean, like more on like heavy lifts and stuff. But when you're watching yourself, you want to see your crease.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's be honest.
Sometimes it's hard. So if I'm meat prepping or whatnot, I try to wear more just for that reason.
That is true, and I recommend a lot of my people especially if they're having depth issues, it's like, let's see what your depth is in a singlet, and then we can actually assess.
Right.
Elliot, what would you stay away from?
I think Wright and I are going to agree on this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not 100% confident in what he's going to say, but I think I've heard him talk about this before. I hate the wife beater trend.
That is huge with the high school kids.
That is huge right now.
That is huge with the high school kids.
That's because of what influence?
I don't know, but I've been
TikToker, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Bryce Hall or Hall,
I don't know.
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's who they remind me of.
Okay.
TikTok.
Yeah, I have a very close friend, Carter. Carter, I don't think you would be watching this, but if you are, I love you, bro. Grace, you're listening. I love Carter. Everyone, I have a lot of friends who wear this wife beater shenanigan. It is so stupid though.
Right.
It looks so awful.
Yeah, it does.
You look dirty. You look sweaty. You look gross. There's better ways to show off your muscles.
Wear like a cool tank top, man. You know what I mean?
Have your own shirt off.
All right, true. Yeah.
Like I know Erik doesn't think that's clean, but it's a lot cleaner than a dirty wife beater.
Yeah, I just and for let's do a segue. We probably shouldn't call it a wife beater in 2022, but everyone knows what Elliot's talking about. The undershirts. It's like the tank top undershirts that everyone wears or whatnot. But anyway, yes, I'd agree. I think that is an awful look. A lot of kids do it in the gym that we go to. You end up seeing it. You probably don't see it as much, but we end up seeing it quite often. It will be like 7 or 8 of them in the same white,
all the same exact outfit too.
Exactly.
White or black wife beater
with really really short shorts, and that's the fit. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. You're right. Anything else?
Yeah, I forgot about. Yes, that is very true. I thought you were gonna say like the jogger capris for personal reasons.
Yeah,
personal vendetta.
Yeah. I'm also not a big fan of the capri sweatpants. Yeah.
I don't mind them.
Yo, what about shoes?
Shoes. So this is a little bit different because in powerlifting you're almost kind of limited with what you can wear if you do a certain lift and whatnot. Like I bench and squat in heels. But even then, I got specific heels because I thought they looked sick. The shoes that I have are not made anymore. So the all black Attires. So like I think that's pretty cool. But like we are deadlift slippers. Like my deadlift slippers are pink and cream color. So that's like a cool thing that I think is pretty cool.
What about for your more like, I guess like tame, like average gym goer? Like what do you think is acceptable?
Okay. I have a hot take. Chuck Taylor's in the gym looks ridiculous.
Chuck Taylor's, is that like it's like Converse?
Converse.
Like the high top one.
The high top, yes, the high top.
You take that back right now.
No, the high top Chuck Taylor's is an awful look, and not only is it a bad lifting shoe, everyone's like it's flat, but it just sucks. I just think it looks ridiculous, and it almost never looks cool. To be honest.
Grace wears those.
Okay, that's okay. I'd still stand by it. I'm not a big fan of them.
I think Grace looks amazing.
That's okay. Elliot loves his girlfriend. Everyone. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think those are cool, but I think for the average person, just any type of like trainer shoe or whatnot. Honestly, if I was just an average gym goer, the Nike Metcon 2 was my all-time favorite shoe. That shoe was sick for like everything.
What about Vans?
Vans?
That's what I wear.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the Vans slip-ons.
Yeah.
I wear the high tops, squats, and then tops for deadlift.
Right.
Bench. I've worn everything. I wear deadlift slippers. I've worn heels.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what I'm most comfortable in.
Yeah, just kind of settled in.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. Elliot, what do you think about shoes?
I like the Vans. I rep the same pair of checkered Vans for the longest time.
Elliot, for the longest time. So this is unfortunately turning into a ripping into Elliot pod, but that's okay. Elliot, Elliot's gonna have his own segment right after this. For as long as I knew you, up until a couple months ago?
Yeah, like a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, honestly, it was closer than that, like a month ago. Elliot had the most obnoxious pair of Vans that had, and sometimes people say this and they over-exaggerate. I'm not over-exaggerating it. Holes all over, to the point where he could probably stick his toe out. There were that many holes. And I was like, bro, you need to get a different pair of shoes. Like, this is ridiculous. He was wearing them during deadlifts and like his toes were sticking out. And I was like, bro, this is like awful.
We almost kicked him out of Saturday sessions and honestly off the team.
Yeah, honestly. Honestly, we're like, bro, like we can't be around you if you're going to be wearing shit like that. And he was like, bro, I can't find the same pair anywhere. And then you got lucky and you found the same pair and got a fresh one.
Oh my God, this is deep. Shout out Grace's mom.
Shout out Grace's mom.
Poirier, most beautiful human on this planet Earth. New shoes. Beautiful, like,
spiritual energy.
New shoes, same exact shoes I couldn't find anywhere. The checkered, the blue, and like red, like rusty white checkered Vans.
Right.
Oh my God, I love those so much. So yeah, now I'm rocking the new pair because of her.
I feel that. Well, I think this is a good time to segue into what will be a reoccurring segment on this show, and that is Transcendental Thoughts with Elliot.
Whoa,
Elliot, do
whoa.
you? I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
You are a little bit.
Do you have anything transcendental that you've been thinking about this week? Because we've gotten requests that the people want to hear you speak upon the transcendental. The floor is yours.
Ooh, this is a tough one because you just put me on the spot.
I definitely did.
If there's one thing that constantly occurs to me, like in the back of my head, no matter when I'm existing or how I'm existing, it's this idea of finding a purpose in life.
Finding a purpose.
That sounds pretty stupid upon first glance, but I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with, especially if you're my age, like an 18-year-old, like you're in college or you're about to go to college. You got to figure out what you want to do. You have to balance like a job that you don't know if you want to like keep going, like continue working.
Yep. Study.
Like Wright said, he's like breaking free of like specific sports or like hobbies that you had all throughout your life.
Right.
You're finding new friends, you're making new relationships, all of this, and it's like you start to wonder like what you really want, like towards the end game. And then even deeper is like you start to wonder like what is actually like purposeful, like what is meaningful in this life, right?
Right. It's pretty overwhelming too, especially I know for me,
it is overwhelming.
When I graduated high school, that period between graduating high school and graduating college was very, very overwhelming for me.
Yeah, overwhelming for me too. I mean, especially because I went into college undeclared.
Yep.
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of start to feel like, oh, nothing matters. Like this is what I find happens a lot, or what I seem to witness is like a lot of people start to get into like this unhealthy mindset of like, oh, nothing matters, like nothing is purposeful, like
right,
yada yada yada, and like, yeah, like objectively speaking, that's true. But one thing that I heard a long time ago that I try to apply to like my everyday life, specifically like powerlifting, I heard it from Jordan Peterson, not like any political like thing or anything like that, but he says that in order to, I kind of touched upon this last podcast, but in order to feel like you're living a meaningful, like purposeful life, you have to find a responsibility that you're passionate about.
Yep.
You can't just like sit and like whittle your fingers, like indulge in like pleasures that don't take any like mental fortitude or like any like effort or anything. You have to find a responsibility.
Of course.
You have to apply yourself. You have to go through hardships, and then you have to overcome them in a way that makes you feel like you're getting better.
Yeah.
You're improving, or like you're doing something meaningful.
Right.
And so if you look at video games, right, a lot of young, like, I don't want to generalize, but like a lot of young men, women too, of course, but like you play video games and it's like, well, why do you love video games? There's challenges, you overcome them, you level up. They kind of simulate that whole like responsibility thing.
Yeah.
So to wrap up today's transcendental thought, right, powerlifting, I find, is like a step up from that, and like maturing, where you kind of like lose video games, like you kind of are figuring out who you are, and you have this whole like, you have this opportunity where you can genuinely apply yourself to something, right?
Right.
Go into the gym every day, eat your meals, hold yourself accountable. Sometimes it's not fun, sometimes it sucks, sometimes you hate it, but then when you have your highs, like today, like 380 for a double, you hit a huge PR, you're like, wow.
It makes it all worth it, right?
Yeah, it makes it feel like you're doing something purposeful, and it's like, you know, everything is subjective.
Absolutely.
Stay true to yourself.
Absolutely. And a lot of people will hear this and be like, you know, what the hell is he talking about? But I feel like a lot of people your age, me included, had these exact thoughts. Now that I've exited, you know, the span of your age and whatnot, I don't look at things as deep. And we've had the conversation before when you were kind of, Ellie wasn't necessarily having like a dilemma or anything like that, but he was like, you know, what actually matters in this life? And I was like, what do you think of? Like, do you define yourself as a powerlifter or whatnot? And I was like, no, honestly, like if powerlifting was gone, I'd still be fine. You know what I mean? And being able to kind of see why it's okay to not necessarily have a long-term purpose, I think is like the last piece for a lot of young men, especially. Yeah. I can't speak for young women, obviously, because I'm not a young woman and I've never dealt with it. But I think for a lot of young men, that is the case.
Yeah. A lot of people also are probably like, why do they have to like differentiate like men, women? Like there's no difference. Like we're all just people, but it is true, like biologically speaking, like women are more likely to find that sort of like sense of purpose and like family, like
and let's be honest, women mature a lot faster than boys do. All right,
and then also just like the stark contrast between how we're raised, it's like it contributes a lot. So
course, yeah, it does, and yeah, there's a lot of things, and I think it's cool that we've had so many, because like Michael is about a year younger than me, Evan's a year older than me, Andrew is around the same age as me, Elliot, of course, is much younger than us, so I think it's cool to have good representation across the board, because it's we all deal with the same things, and I think a lot of the times for Elliot or whatnot, we're able, especially in the gym, we're able to say like, yo, bro, we've dealt with this too. This is what you should do, and it helps, having someone to go to and whatnot, especially if you don't have brothers. I mean, you do have a brother, but like if you don't have people who are regularly in your life and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a good spot to end it there. With that being said, let's go into everyone's favorite segment, shoutouts. I handled the first one last time, and to refresh everyone with what Shoutouts is, you have the opportunity for the floor to talk about any entity that you would like, anything, anyone, and the floor is yours. So, does anyone have anything they would like to start with? I can go first if anyone wants some time.
Go first.
Okay. So, as everyone can see, I'm wearing a sports jersey right here, particularly Zion Williamson, but I should have worn my other one, but it didn't really go with the hat. So I'm going to take the time to shout out, maybe not my favorite player of all time, but if Russell Westbrook is 1A, LeBron's like 1B, 1C is the person I'm going to shout out today, and that is Mr. James Harden. All right, James Harden, unfortunately, is going to, when we go circle back and look at the careers of the best players during me and Evan's generation, I feel like James Harden is going to kind of be left in the dust because he probably won't ever win a championship. He probably will never be on a team that... Well, he's on a team right now that's pretty good, but he's never going to end up being the number one guy on a championship team. However, his peak, his apex, was quite literally the most impressive apex, I think, of any NBA player that's ever played. For like 3 straight years, he was anywhere between 33 and 36 points a game. All right, 36. No one's done that besides Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. He played a very interesting brand of basketball where it was entirely just threes and free throws. He, in 2019, shot 1,059 threes in 78 games.
That's insane.
Okay, and he has the second most threes ever in a season with 378, and he's not that good a three-point. He's not like a Steph Curry level three-point shooter. James Harden, I love him because he has led the league in scoring quite often, a bunch of times. Led the league in assists, led the league in turnovers quite often. Shoots the ball a lot, plays very selfishly. I'm a very big fan of that style of play. And he's very familiar with the strip club, and he's very familiar with the concept of me and Evan like to talk about the Honey-Bun. Evan, would you like to speak on what the Honey-Bun is?
Yes, and to add to his stats and what he's good at, he's also a fashion icon.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. James Harden has some of my favorite fits ever.
We're really into that. Me and Erik especially.
Yeah.
The fashion lifestyle, but the Honey-Bun's interesting, right? So which one, the Lil Baby or Dub Baby?
It was Lil Baby.
Lil Baby, yeah. They were in their natural habitat in the strip club.
They're in the strip club. Yep.
It was our Lil Baby's birthday.
Lil Baby's birthday. Yep.
And so Harden gifted him a Honey-Bun.
Right.
So if you're not familiar, it's $100,000, and it was in a Prada bag.
Right, in a wad.
Yep. So Honey-Bun is $100,000. A Prada bag, or probably just any sort of bag.
Right, exactly.
And there was also honey buns in the bag, which makes it like that an actual good gift. $100,000, it is what. But honey buns, that's meaningful. Right,
exactly. And there is, it's very interesting because a honey bun is obviously what we know as honey bun, but there's also the Honey-Bun $100,000. So Lil Baby or James Harden put honey buns that you eat and then $100,000 wads in this Prada bag. And the legendary sign is Prada bag because he proud of me.
Yo, I'm just going to say that.
Filled with honey buns. And then he pulls out the $100,000 wad with a honey bun. And me and Evan have just been going back and forth for like 2
Erik
years.
Said he was going to gift me one of those pretty soon.
I told him that for his next birthday, it's going to be a honey bun, but I missed out this year. So maybe next year. Anyone would like to shout out something next after I went on the tirade on James Harden?
Yeah, I got one if Erik still wants to think a little bit. I'm going to take a different step. And I just started thinking about this because of that transcendental thought that I just shared. Shout out Dark Souls, the game franchise, man.
Okay, so another video game shout out.
I know you're a video game enjoyer. You're right.
Not so much.
That's okay. I'd like to think of this game less as a game and more like a interactive story.
I know exactly what you're talking about, bro.
And it's just like, it's profound the way this game has impacted me. Like, I don't know, I really can't even put it into words. You really have to play it or go watch like lore videos on YouTube. That sounds so stupid. I swear I'm not stupid. Like, if you respect me, like, you respect fine arts and enjoying shit, like, go look at this game, like, learn about it, play it if you want. You don't actually have to, but it's really good. It's about finding purpose in an otherwise hopeless and purposeless world. About cycles, you know, cyclical nature of existence, and then right and wrong, and kind of where we derive morals from.
What console would you recommend it on?
PS4.
Yeah.
There's a trilogy of the Dark Souls games, and then there's also like the Souls-like games.
Yep, of course.
Made by the FromSoft is the creator.
Right.
But basically, each one of these games just like challenges your idea of right and wrong. Like I said, morals, ethics, purpose. Really deep. It's not just like stupid, like shoot people, whatever. It's not stupid, like hack and slash people. It's like, wow, you really feel like you're part of this world.
Right.
You are moved spiritually. And then aside from that, like the actual gameplay is just genuinely euphoric. Like third person, you get to like, slash stuff and just sick. So yeah.
Evan. Shout out Dark Souls. Evan.
Yeah, so my shout-out's not going to be quite as out there. I really want to shout out Jacked and Jilled, the gym we went to today.
This is the second time we've shout out Jacked and Jilled on this podcast. Michael Beaupre did, I believe, in episode 1, I think. Talk about it.
Okay, yeah, so first off, I want to, just having them in Southern Maine is huge.
Huge,
I've been saying that since I started powerlifting. I'm like, we really need a fully equipped, like, powerlifting gym, because I don't really know any other gym in the area that has calibrated plates of that,
not in the area at least.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been saying that for a long time, and I was like, if no one's gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. But that's obviously not realistic. I wish it was, but it's nice to have them there. Like, unfortunately, I can't go every time I lift. Just I'm not a member. I'm not don't live super close to there.
Exactly, and it is a decent bit away. You know what I mean?
Right. So, but on Saturdays, I've no problem traveling there and going, because it is very much worth it.
Absolutely.
Everything's competition standard, high quality.
Power bars,
everything. So I want to give them a shout out. Thank you for being there. Hopefully we have more like that opening up around us, honestly. Like, it'd be nice to, they're not few and far between, especially with like the sport growing in our area, which it is. Yeah. So, I think people are going to see that business opportunity. I think it's going to happen, but thankfully they're there for now. And
absolutely. And that's in my 10-year plan. We talked about that. Beachtown Barbell in 10 years. I'm speaking into an existence. I think that'd be really cool, because obviously we're in Old Orchard Beach. We have to figure out where that would be, but Beachtown Barbell sounds pretty cool to me. So in closing, before we kind of wrap this up, any closing thoughts, Elliot?
No.
Evan?
No. Other than, I had fun on the Utopiacast. Hopefully you have me on again.
So hopefully we can get Chris Couillard on as well.
Yeah, we need him on there. We can have some different topics and stuff, but thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 6 of the Utopiacast. We kind of talked about gym attire. We talked about a whole bunch of things, got a little bit into Evan Wright's story. Evan, thank you for coming on with your very busy schedule. Giving us an hour was always respected, and we really enjoyed having you on. Next week we will hopefully try to get Chris Couillard on. Don't know if it'll happen, but if not, it will probably be either just me and Elliot, or it'll be the original 3 of me, Elliot, and Michael, because next week things get a little bit weird. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and I think that's where we'll end it.
Thanks for watching.